watch the whole fight?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
The whole Jake Paul and fucking Fury fight?
The whole
How
thing.
shit was well? So was that? I know that I know Jake lost, but was it like? Did he get his ass? I didn't get to see the fight. Did he get his ass beat, or was it like a close fight?
It wasn't close, but I it
I know,
it
I
was
know it
a
was like a split decision, but
it was
you know
such
how
a
they
weird fight. It was such a weird fight because the referee kind of messed it up. But
like what do you what do you?
if you look at the stats of the fight, that it looks like Tommy dominated, which he kind of did, but Tommy wasn't really throwing anything hard, so it wasn't really like affecting Jake like that.
So it just kind of like just outpaced him, just kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah,
outpaced him.
he outpaced him. He literally thrown double and landed damn near double punches too. Double the punches. Jake only threw 157. Tommy threw 302. Jake landed 49. Tommy landed 88. So he damn near doubled him up on every stat.
You made him play
Damn.
cardio. Made him play cardio game.
Yeah, that's what me and Dom were talking about when we were talking about the fight before, discussing how it would go. We both agreed that Jake's last opponents just weren't doing enough. They were being too cautious, letting Jake just jab them and score and win rounds, and Tommy didn't do that. Tommy was outlanding him double.
I think that kind of plays into the whole like MMA fighter mentality when they box because a lot of guys, like a lot of the guys that he went against, especially like Tyron Woodley, they're more patient, like look for like knockout shots and stuff. As to where when you actually fight a boxer, it's like they actually box you, like the sweet science, the footwork, jabs and stuff, and their constant movement. So I,
That kind of looked like what Jake was doing. Jake looked like he was waiting for a knockout with the check hook or the overhand.
Yeah,
yeah,
Jake
he's like used to fighting MMA fighters.
Jake showed he kind of exposed himself because even if he did lose this fight, I mean at least if you would have gone out there and you would have gone toe to toe with Tommy in a way that it was close in a way that he did get the knockdown, which helped him because if he didn't get that knockdown, those scorecards would have been even further apart in Tommy's favor. So the knockdown helped. So there was a 10-8 from the knockdown. He also got it was either a 10-8, but it could have been a 9-8 because Tommy got deducted a point. I think it
But he
was. Yeah, they were both deducted a point. So first, Jake was deducted a point for headbutting. What Jake was doing a lot is he was ducking down, and then he was launching his head up to throw like a hook to the body or an uppercut, and he was headbutting Tommy on his way up. So Jake got deducted a point. And then Tommy, because Jake kept ducking like that, Tommy kept getting his hands hooked over on top of Jake's head and having him kind of like in a guillotine in the clinch. And then Tommy was deducted a point for that later on in the fight. And then the whole fight was just weird. The ref just kept stopping them and warning them. And it was just like, let them fight, bro. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I hate when the refs, like when they clinch, the two guys clinch, instead of the ref getting in there and breaking them up, the ref is like, hey, stop, stop, stop. He's just yelling at them to stop instead of actually breaking them apart. I hate when refs do that.
He probably wasn't like a super professional, experienced ref.
Yeah, it's like these guys are just holding on to each other and you're yelling stop and they're tired, so they're still just going to hold on to each other. Your job is to get in there, push them apart off of each other, and then say box. Don't just stand there and yell stop at them and then get mad and call time when they're clinching and you're not stopping them from clinching.
Was there any like bad shots, like any bad like knockdowns, like holy shit, he's about to get knocked out or
Uh, t-
something?
Tommy took a few good punches. So here's really how the fight went. Tommy was landing more of the shots, but Jake, when he was landing, it was much harder. Like Jake, I didn't really see Jake get rocked. Tommy was just landing good jabs, good hooks, some uppercuts here and there when Jake was ducking his head. And then Jake was landing that overhand right a lot, timing Tommy's jab, landing the overhand right. And a few jabs too. Jake has landed some really good hard jabs that snapped Tommy's head back. And then there was that jab that caught him off guard and made him lose his balance and he fell. I don't think Tommy was hurt from the jab. You could tell his foot slipped out from under him, but it was a punch that caused his foot to slip out from under him and lose his balance. So it's considered a knockdown.
But you could tell Tommy has had like at least decent amount of fights, not pro fights, but at least amateur fights, because he was taking a lot of shots and really didn't really look phased by them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, neither fighter really looked hurt. There was just a few shots that Jake landed that it was like scary. It was like, ooh, Tommy better not take another one of those, but then he would take another one and just eat it.
That's
After
not what
watching
Jake was
the fight,
used to.
after watching the fight, do you agree like with the decision? Like how do you score it?
Yeah, I did think Tommy won the fight, but I just wasn't sure how the judges were gonna go with it because of all the deducted points and then Jake getting that knockdown at the end. I had Tommy up the first 2 rounds for sure because Tommy just completely outstruck Jake. Jake was landing harder shot. It depends how you score. If you're scoring based off of points, like who hit who more, Tommy hit Jake more without a doubt. But if you're just if this was MMA, those rounds would have probably gone to Jake because Jake was landing the more effective shots. It's just that Tommy was hitting him with like 2 jabs and a right hand, or he was triple jabbing him. Tommy was just jabbing the fuck out of Jake the whole beginning of the fight.
Probably, I mean, I guess it depends on like what the ratio is. Like if Jake's landing like the heavier shots, but how many? Like is he landing just like a few in the round or like one every, couple exchanges?
No, it was one here and there. And Jake,
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't that many, man. And yeah, I gave the edge to Tommy, but I thought they were gonna give because those first few rounds they were kind of 50-50 rounds. I thought they were gonna give them to Jake, and then when Jake got that knockdown and when Tommy was deducted that point, I was like, oh man, Jake might have stole it, but they must have gave Tommy all those 50-50 rounds because of the output. He just outpaced Jake. Jake did decent. I mean, I think he looked worse than his last fights. He just did a lot of ducking. He made a lot of mistakes that like if he wasn't fighting Tommy Fury, if he was fighting someone with more punching power, he would have got hurt bad. Like he would have got hurt bad. I know it was a close fight. It was a split decision, but yeah, he would have been hurt really bad if he was up against a real boxer that has some real punching power. Him ducking his head like that, he was so susceptible to uppercuts.
Man, what do you think's next for him? Like, who's he gonna fight next? You think he's done or like?
Oh no, he's calling
uh,
for he was calling for the rematch already. There's a rematch clause. So I think Tommy's gonna have to honor it if Jake, goes for it. But I don't think Tommy has a problem taking it because it's more money.
Yeah, if he loses that one, then what's next? Like you think
Probably just
do you think
lower
he'll fall
level.
off? Do you think he'll fall off after that, or he'll be just as popular?
No, I think he would just be as popular because he'll probably take a fight after that that's a big name. It's not really that good and win, and he'll try and put himself right back in that conversation again.
I guess
Yeah.
that's true. He'll never get over the people saying that, oh, you can't beat a real boxer thing. But I mean, he could still stay famous and make a bunch of money, I guess, if he fights the right people.
Yeah, they're going to do the rematch because the rematch clause is in effect. So they are going to do the rematch. Jake is 100% saying he's pursuing it, and Tommy is gonna have to. He signed the contract, so Tommy's gonna have to do it, and he's not gonna turn it down. It's gonna be a shit ton of money. So
So now, do you think that he could turn it around and like make the adjustments to win that fight?
Hmm. That's
Or
the
do you think
hard part because I just don't think Jake has the gas tank. I just don't think Jake has the gas tank to throw out the output that Tommy Fury was throwing out. I just don't think he has it. And I think if he tries to, yeah, he might win a few of the earlier rounds, but he'll gas out quicker. He was gassed. He was sucking in wind hard towards the end of the fight. Really, that knockdown saved him because he would have lost that round too. That round that he got the knockdown in, that was the only thing Jake did the whole round. All the rest of the round was Tommy Fury. If Tommy doesn't get knocked down, he steals that round too. So not only did Jake the round that Tommy got knocked down, he would have won that round. And the round that Tommy was deducted a point, he would have won that round. So the fight, if Tommy doesn't get deducted a point and if he doesn't get knocked down, it would have been not even close. Not even close on the scorecards.
Did they say anything about when the rematch is gonna be?
No, no, no. I know Jake is just calling for it.
I would think if I was Jake, like I would take a fucking long time to build up my cardio. I wouldn't just like fight him in like another month or something.
Yeah,
But
that's his downfall, man. Like I said, me and Dom talked about it. Like that's his downfall in these fights, in these boxing fights, man. They're marathons, not sprints, and unfortunately, those knockouts that he's had don't help him. And him fighting guys to the distance, but without having to really put in much output out there or really do anything, it's hurting him in the long run.
well, then let me get your opinion on something. I want to ask you too, Dom, what your opinion is on this. Do you think that if Jake Paul had like Dustin Poirier level cardio, that he would win the fight, or was Fury just or is Fury just much better skilled than him? Like, do you think Jake could win that fight
Um,
if he had amazing cardio?
could he win the fight? Yeah, but in my opinion, he was just fighting. He was fighting too I mean, the next fight, I feel like he would do better.
Yeah.
But just this fight, it looked like he wasn't really. He wasn't reacting. Like he was getting. Like he wasn't really throwing. It literally looked like. I mean, it's weird, but it looked like Tyron Woodley after he won the title.
Mm-hmm.
Like after he won the title, it looked like Tyron Woodley to where he was just like trying to find like boring, just trying to find the knockout or just like pacing for the win. Like it wasn't really like he wasn't going out there trying to win the fight with high volume or even if I don't know. It
You
wasn't
think he was
countering
doing
well
good?
in my opinion.
So you think he didn't look as good as he usually does? You think maybe like he was sandbagging his training? Maybe like he was like, "Oh, I'm fucking 3-0. I'm not gonna lose. I don't really gotta train that hard or something."
Well, I don't honestly I don't know because I don't know what's going on in their camp. I mean, he did have a couple excuses and maybe that could have been why, but he just like he literally said it. He looked flat. Like he didn't look
He's gonna
like
be
his other
kicking himself
fights.
a lot when he watches the fight back because he looked terrible, man. And
What was
I
he?
know,
What was he? Was sick or something?
yeah, he said he got sick twice in his camp, and then I think he said also that he hurt his shoulder or something like that.
But his
Oh.
technique didn't even look the same though.
His
Like he
technique
didn't.
looked
He just
horrible.
he looked like a worse version of himself.
Yeah, there was like I said, he was doing a lot of ducking his head down for some reason. Like when Tommy would come in, Jake would just duck his head, or Jake would
Yeah.
duck his head, damn near basically looking straight at the ground, and just swing a right hand. Sometimes it's funny because people make fun of KSI's form, like in his earlier fights, like with Logan Paul. There was a few times Jake Paul threw those windmill type
Yeah,
KSI looking
overhands.
hooks, yeah,
Yeah,
and they just
overhands and hooks.
hmm
And yeah.
And they would just Tommy wasn't even moving his head, and they would just whip over his head. Like Jake just completely would miss him. Like not even close. It was just Jake. Jake just looked terrible, man. He looked so bad.
Like what? If his technique was off that bad, like his tech, like to where he looks completely different, then I don't know if that's like that was him being sick, maybe because like if he looked like sharp in the first round or something, and then he just got tired because he was sick, then maybe. But like if he looked like that the whole fight, Like even in the first round, his technique was just horrible.
Yeah, he didn't look too good.
No, it was like how me and Dom. It looked exactly how me and Dom were talking about it. Jake doesn't know how to get hit yet. He's not used to getting hit yet, and he was tensing up really tight. And there was a few times when Tommy came in, Jake tensed up, and then you can tell Jake would swing like 2 body punches, and they looked like you were tensed up, and they didn't really have any.
Like
He
it
didn't
literally
have
looked
any
like
hit
he was
movement.
throwing with his eyes closed.
Yes, yes, and he was doing a whole lot of that. He was ducking his head, closing his eyes, and swinging the right hand, and he was tensing up a lot when Tommy was coming in. He wasn't really counter punching at all. He would just stand there, and Tommy would jab his way in and hit him with a right hand or a left hook. Jake just he just didn't look good, man. He looked like when you spar for the first time, and you're just so tense and nervous and you're just letting the guy hit you. You don't really know how to move. That's what Jake looked like. Jake didn't look like he didn't know how to move. He looked very stiff, very stuck in the mud. And Tommy was just moving around, jabbing him, staying at a distance, and just Jake didn't have an answer for it.
It might. I don't know. It might be that he sandbagged in his training. It might be that he was sick. But like all I know is that like Anderson Silva, I don't care how old Anderson Silva is, and I don't care that he's an MMA fighter. Anderson Silva is no fucking joke.
Mm-hmm.
And like for him to do what he did against Anderson Silva and to look like this against, Fury, like it's like he should have at least looked somewhat impressive in this fight. You know what I mean? Like there's something's got to be going on with him. I don't know.
But I don't know. I don't think something's going on with him. I just think that he's not very as good as like his team and he thinks he is, and that maybe some people out there thinks he is. I just don't think he's really that good. Like he hasn't really. This is the first fight where he actually was in a fight. Like Anderson Silva took way too much time off during that fight. He wasn't doing enough. Same with Tyron Woodley. You look at those Tyron Woodley fights, they were extremely boring. Jake didn't really have to prove anything or do anything. And even the second Tyron Woodley fight when he got the knockout, Jake was losing that fight. And he pulled out a knockout out of nowhere. And then now in this fight, Jake was looking like he would have done another boring fight had Tommy been like a passive fighter. Because
Yeah.
Jake wasn't really doing anything. He was
So
throwing
this is
some right
it.
hands every now and then and some nice jabs, stiff jabs, but that's literally it. He did.
So this is the first guy to like bring the fight to him.
Yeah.
He didn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah, he didn't know
Yeah.
how to deal with the combinations. He wasn't moving his head. He was
He looked
going
like he was like
straight
a
back.
first time. He looked like he was like this was his first fight.
Yeah, it did. It honestly looked like he got worse, man. But I don't think it was because he was taking easy training. I think the Anderson Silva fight probably got to him, and he probably in his head he probably thinks Anderson Silva's better than Tommy Fury in the stand up. So Tommy Fury's not gonna be no Anderson Silva, but Tommy Fury probably thrown triple what Anderson Silva threw in their fight.
Mm.
And even if Fury wasn't landing like hard punches, they were still accurate enough to daze. I mean, I don't know if he ever got like hurt because Jake didn't look like he ever got hurt, but it was still. I mean, when you get hit with a lot of punches, especially the way he was getting hit flush because he really doesn't move his head. They
Mm-hmm.
hurt. So it was really. I think that just startled him. Like how much he was really getting hit. Um, and not really well. I think Tommy Fury has power. He just wasn't using it. I think he just thought that Jake wasn't gonna last, so he was really just trying to outpace him.
Mm-hmm.
But even still, like Jake was doing a lot of coming in again, like dipping his head and coming in, and he was coming into a lot of shots. So
Mm-hmm.
I just think he wasn't. Once he got hit a few times, he wasn't ready for that. I think. Yeah, and he doesn't have that fighter backbone.
Yeah, man. You could tell he's just not used to getting hit, man. He tried. I mean, it was a good effort, but I mean, he's gonna say, and he already did, but he's just gonna say it wasn't my night. But honestly, every time he fights, it looks like it's not his night. Like he just doesn't look good enough. He just doesn't look that good. But I mean, it's not his fault. You know what I mean? He hasn't been training that long. There's only
Yeah,
so
he
much you
needs a
could
lot
do
of
with
work.
like 3 or 4 years worth of training.
Yeah, it's just the way he's talking about himself makes it bad. Makes it
Yeah,
to where he has to show out like a 10-year vet.
yeah, and then here comes the problem that they're gonna do the rematch. There's no doubt about that. Tommy's gonna get a bigger payday for the second fight than he did for this one, so there's no doubt about that. They're gonna do the rematch. But if Jake loses that one, which I think he will, man, I just think up against Jake could beat another power puncher that doesn't have a gas tank. Jake could beat those type of guys. But beating someone with that type of output, I just don't think it's like Conor McGregor. No matter how much he trains, no matter how hard he trains, his gas tank is just not going to be there. It's just not. So I just think that, 10 times out of 10 Tommy Fury just out paces him. He has a way higher punch count. I mean, doubling someone's punch count, and Jake was dead tired. Jake was more tired at the end of the fight than Tommy was, and Tommy doubled the output. So
And Tommy wasn't really accurate either. Like I
yeah,
mean, you
he was
could tell
missing a
on the
lot.
stats. He threw over 300 punches and landed only 80 something. So
Hmm.
like he wasn't even accurate. Imagine like granted, Jake's team isn't gonna allow him to fight anyone probably better than Tommy Fury because he would
No.
get messed up. But like imagine Jake fought a fighter that threw that many punches and was more accurate. Because
Yeah.
Jake really doesn't move his head. Like he really doesn't. And the only time he does is when he drops his head down, and like a real seasoned fighter sees that a couple times, they're gonna throw some and wait for you to drop your head so
Hmm.
they can throw an uppercut. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was saying in the live broadcast. I was like, when I was watching it, I was like, yo, Jake keeps ducking his head. Tommy just needs to go for the uppercut. Just go for the uppercut because he's ducking his head right there, right in front of him. Every time. Even when Jake wasn't throwing the overhand, he was like ducking his head to avoid like jabs and right hands. The uppercut was there all day. And Tommy caught on towards the end. He did land a couple of good uppercuts, but a better fighter will notice that quicker. And if a better fighter does notice that quicker, you better hope he has some real punching power because I'm telling you, Jake got hit with some shots that if it was a puncher, he would have gone out. He would have been hurt at least bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the scorecard tells that it was a closer fighter than what it actually was. The round that Tommy got knocked down, that would have been Tommy's round, and then the round that Tommy was deducted a point, that would have also been Tommy's round. So that's 2 rounds that went towards Jake that would have gone towards Tommy,
And he still lost the fight.
and he still lost the fight. Yep. So
So now looking at it with it for looking at after this fight, looking at everything from this perspective, KSI and Jake Paul doesn't seem that interesting anymore. To be honest.
um,
Well,
it
it does
What do you
because
think about it? Like, do you
I
think
don't
that
think
do you
KSI
think
is
that
that
one would
good.
it does to
To
me
be
think that
because
honest,
one
yeah.
would fight? Because
I,
I feel like KSI would just like he's long, and I feel like he would just out condition him again. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I feel like he'd do the same exact thing.
Yeah, he can, but I just think KSI, I think it's a better, like I said, I think KSI for Jake is a much better matchup because of
Like he's
KSI's
less
aggressive
skilled, man.
style. Yeah, it's
And
KSI's
I
style.
think he's a little less skilled too. Like he's just not as experienced.
Yeah, Tommy's style is just, it's that type of style is just kryptonite to someone like Jake Paul. Someone who has a better gas tank, who can stay on a good reach length and has some good combinations. That's tough for someone like Jake, but someone like KSI who's aggressive, who's gonna come forward, and Tommy could or Jake can try to catch him coming in. I think that fits better in Jake's style because Tommy was not doing that. Tommy was not gonna come in aggressive like that.
You think KSI would just come out swinging,
Oh
or do
yeah.
you think like
I
really against somebody,
no,
really against somebody with the amount of power that Jake has?
I don't think. It's hard to say because I think KSI probably has like a little temper when he's in there. So I don't think KSI. I think he'll stick to the game plan. I think they'll tell him like the game plan is to take him into the later rounds and then put it on him. But I just think if Jake hits KSI with a good shot, his temper will get the better of him and then he'll get aggressive. Because he's naturally, like you saw in the Logan fight, he's just naturally an animal. He's just naturally he's gonna come forward. He's gonna bite down on the mouthpiece. He's gonna want to trade. But
He's done that in pretty much all his fights. It's just the Logan Paul fight. Logan could really take those punches because he's bigger. But the opponents that KSI is fighting, those guys can't really take the punishment. So once he gets into a dogfight, he knocks him out or finishes him, TKOs him. But yeah, I think Ricardo's right. I think KSI just has a dog mentality and will just once he gets hit clean once, like that switch flips, he blacks out, just goes crazy.
Yep, that's what I think will happen.
Is
So
he easy to hit? I haven't seen him fight that much. I've seen like a couple highlights. Is like how's his footwork? Is he hittable? Like super hittable?
yes, yes, yes.
He doesn't move his head at all. He's honestly he kind of fights like a wrestler, to be honest with you. Yeah, as a striker at least. Like he
That's
doesn't
weird because the Paul
he's
brothers are
not
the ones
really
that wrestle.
polished. He's not really like a polished, like legit, like you see a boxer. KSI doesn't look like a boxer. He just looks like a street fighter. He looks like a brawler, like he's coming to fight and that's it.
The
Yeah,
only I've seen only a couple highlights of his, and they're all of just him fucking throwing leather, bro. Like just
yeah,
swinging for the fence.
Yeah,
yeah.
there's not really I mean, he's learning technique, but like if you watch like not this fight, Jake's previous fight and seen his technique, Jake's technique is way better than KSI's. Like way better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his technique normally is way better, but this fight, man, it looked around the same level. This fight Jake just looked really bad for this fight, man. It looked on level with KSI. That's how bad his technique looked in this one. That's how stiff. I don't know. Maybe it was the nerves that got to him. I don't know. But KSI, yeah, he is very susceptible. That last fight against FaZe Temper, KSI was getting hit a lot by shots that he could have easily slipped or easily blocked. He was getting hit a lot, man. A lot cleanly too. If FaZe Temper had like some real power on him, he could have really hurt KSI. But he is getting better technique wise. He is training with at the Shoot Fighters gym in the UK with he's training with Michael Venom Page. So he's taking some tricks out of MVP's book. But I don't know, man. It is a fight that I think is more interesting because it does favor Jake a little bit more than this Tommy Fury fight. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see if Jake. So they're gonna do the rematch. If Jake wins, do you think they do a trilogy?
I think it just depends on how he wins. If he
Mm-hmm.
knocks him out, which I don't think he would do, but if he knocks him out, probably not.
I mean, I
He'll
think if
he'll probably call out KSI.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe financially it makes sense in the future, but yeah, I think that would be smarter. Like if he knocks him out, call out KSI, get that KSI money, and then come back for
Yeah,
that.
because KSI. I mean, Jake is a big draw. Like Jake is arguably more famous than KSI, but KSI has been doing it. KSI started this. Jake got into it just because KSI and Logan fought. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, they're both the big draw. I think the KSI fight, just because of how known he is, that it would be a really big draw. So that's why I wouldn't see them having a trilogy if Jake knocks him out. I think Jake will call out KSI and try and get the biggest payday he can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, next up we do have KSI. We'll be fighting next. We're not sure who he's fighting still. I don't know who they're fighting still. Maybe they're gonna announce it on the next Misfits card coming up. Maybe they'll announce it. We're not sure who KSI is fighting yet, but should he get past him, do you think he fights the winner of Jake and Tommy Fury in their rematch, or do you think he just moves on to someone else?
KSI?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's been the move for a while. I mean, I don't know if in his camp if he's thinking about doing that. But if I were him, I for sure I damn sure would do that.
Yeah, I think he will. I think he'll fight the winner.
Because
Just because it's like it's the talk. Like
Mhm.
he probably wants the biggest fight he can. Um, and really he was probably just waiting for Jake to beat Tommy, or really hoping for him to beat Tommy so he can fight Jake at like Apex.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I think if I think if Tommy wins, he won't fight KSI. I think KSI would go elsewhere because Tommy's really not that big of a draw.
Mhm.
If Jake wins, and they don't do the rematch, then yeah, I think KSI will fight Jake, or will look to.
I think Jake.
Okay.
I think Jake will do it because, like, if I'm trying to think about it rationally, if I'm thinking about it like him, like losing this fight sucks for like his star power. But if he wins it back, like if he win if he let's say he knocks Tommy Fury out in the second fight, then I feel like that's his chance. Like, when's the KSI money going to get any bigger? Like, you got to take it right there if you win
Mhm.
that fight. Because if you lose that fight, then the KSI fight's not going to be as big anymore. Like, I feel
Yeah,
like you win that Tommy Fury fight, you got to take it. That's when the money's going to be as big as it's going to get.
yeah, and that's why I think KSI would fight him because of that exact reason.
So if he wins, I think that's going to be the fight. I think they're going to do it.
So now, if Jake loses again, which I think he will, I don't think his gas tank is gonna hold up. I think he'll lose the second one in a similar way, except minus the points. If you take out the point deductions and you take out the knockdown, Tommy Fury dominates this fight. So I just think that Tommy Fury would win. But if Jake loses again, remember he has signed that deal with the PFL. So I don't know if he can just walk away like that, or if he signed that contract and he's gonna have to fight a boxing and an MMA fight with the PFL now.
Yeah, he's probably going to have to do that. I mean, he said he was going to do that. Like, he said he
Mhm.
signed a contract or whatever, or he was going to. Wasn't there something that he said he was going to sign a contract to fight Diaz or something?
Yeah, he wanted to fight Nate Diaz in boxing and in MMA.
That was never official though.
No. He was just talking.
It
I don't
was
think
it
he
was
would have did it
Nick,
with
right?
Nate.
It wasn't Nate.
No. I think it was Nate. But I don't think
It
he's
was
gonna do it
Nate or
anyways because
Paddy.
he's not gonna do an MMA match with Nate. He'll get submitted.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I wanted to make sure. I mean, even Nick would fucking submit him too.
Yeah, he'll get submitted too easily.
So I have a random question for you guys. Like so Jake Paul, like let's say he does lose that fight to Tommy Fury. He loses the rematch and he goes and does the MMA thing. What do you guys think about, like, I know that you guys said they probably won't, but what if they do? Like, what do you think about a Tommy Fury versus KSI fight? Like, what do you who do you think comes out on top in that one? Do
Mm.
you think it's the same thing that Tommy Fury is just too skilled, too
No.
experienced?
Similar to that, I think for KSI, I think Tommy is a better matchup for KSI than Jake because of Tommy. Tommy showed that he doesn't have a very good gas tank either. He gassed out, man. And if KSI can hold out long enough with his gas tank and hit Tommy with some power shots towards the end of that fight, I think he'll knock Tommy out towards the end.
Ooh.
I think he knocked Tommy out because Tommy was gassed too. He was still throwing some good combinations and punches, but Tommy was gassed out too. And
You sold
KSI
you
doesn't get tired
sold me.
like that.
You sold me. That's an interesting fight. You sold me.
I think if it goes to the judges, I do think Tommy would win that fight against KSI, but I don't think KSI will let it go to the judges, man. I don't think so. When Tommy's tired like that, I don't think KSI will let it go.
What do you
So,
think, Dom?
mhm.
I think it's interesting. I don't think KSI is better than Tommy. I think they're probably like the same. Maybe Tommy's a little bit better. Like he looks more natural, like his movement and everything. Um, so I think it would be a good fight. Honestly, I couldn't tell you who wins, To be honest with you, I think it would be a really good fight. I would want to watch it for sure.
And if they did it, I'd check it out. I mean, I think that's way more interesting than the
Yeah,
Jake Paul versus KSI. I'd rather see KSI versus if Tommy Fury wins. I want to see that one.
yeah. I don't think Tommy's gonna fight KSI though. I really don't think so. I think Tommy's talking about being a world champion, and Tommy's talking about, you know, having his own legacy and things like that. So I think he's gonna do the rematch because he has to because it's in the contract. But I think once that fight is over, if he wins, I think he's done with the YouTube boxers. He's just gonna go on to fight, ranked opponents instead.
I think that's really smart. Like he did it. He did it a couple times just to get the money, and now he's doing his thing.
Mhm.
I feel like
Yeah, because if he loses the KSI, shit, all that Jake Paul winning stuff, all that goes out the window.
Yeah, sure.
that is true.
Yep, it doesn't matter if he beats Jake Paul twice. If he loses the KSI after that, it's gone. His career is basically done.
Not only that, yeah, not only that too. Like his real boxing career, if he loses to Jake Paul, is pretty much over.
Yep.
Like,
Hmm.
he just lost to a labeled YouTuber.
Yep. It's gonna be the same circumstance. It's gonna be the same thing.
So if you're Tommy Fury, you want to just hurry up and get the hell out of this thing.
Yep. You just want to go to get the rematch, go get your money,
Get the
fight
money.
a similar fight, maybe tweak some things, but fucking learn how to put your guard up because that right hand was coming like a fucking missile.
Sheesh.
Learn how to put your hand up and take another win, and then move on to the actual boxing opponents. Because I think KSI is going to be a much harder fight for him with that gas tank, and you don't want to lose to a YouTube boxer, man. You don't.
Especially when you have aspirations to be a legit boxer,
Yeah.
like a world champion.
Not that the YouTube boxers aren't good. They're getting good now. They're getting pretty decent. But it's just your reputation is just tarnished for the rest of your career if you do.
Yeah, I feel like it's more of a like after your career type of thing.
Mhm.
Not like if you're trying to make it type of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I told you, like after you've made it and you've made all your money and your legacy set and you're done, then yeah, go make that YouTube boxer money. Go get knocked out. But but like yeah, it's not a good idea if you're like trying to build a legacy. If you already have a legacy carved out, then yeah,
Mhm. But all right,
totally agree.
takeaways from this fight. It just Jake just needs to get used to getting hit. He needs to stop tense up. He needs to loosen up a little bit more. I mean, but that's what happens when early in your career when you only have a few years of fighting experience like Jake. That's just normal. That's just natural. He's not used to it yet, so it's not really his fault. But it just shows the difference in experience between the two. And I think if Jake wins this fight, the second fight against Tommy, either run a trilogy with him and then go to KSI, or go to KSI and call it, because I'm telling you, if Jake goes up against these higher ranked boxers and he thinks he's going to be a world champion, at that weight class, he's going to get put to sleep. Those guys are fucking killers up in the, like, as the champions, the world champions. Those guys are killers. Let me look up, cuz this was in the cruiserweight. Let me see. I think the cruiserweight world champion is, all right. So it was Badu Jack. Badu Jack was the one that fought also on the undercard. He was the co-main event. I'm telling you right now, that Badu Jack guy, if Jake Paul fights that Badu Jack, Jake Paul will get knocked out cold. And it's not even close. Not even a challenge. And if he tries to go lower, you got Dmitry Bivol, you got Artur Beterbiev, you got Canelo Alvarez. It's just a problem all around. Any which way you look at it, it's a problem.
So now we know that like now he's getting into the what is it, PFL, it's the new league. He's getting into the MMA now.
Smart
So
move.
to me that's a little bit more interesting because you get into a world now where I know he's not like an Olympic wrestler or anything, but he does have wrestling experience. The striking, when you take everything into account, the striking can't be as technical as far as punching. as boxing is, because you have to take takedowns into account, kicks into account, elbows, knees. There's so many things you can't bob and weave the exact same way as you can in boxing. The footwork's different, the head's movement's different. It's not as like technical. So what do you think his chances are in the world of MMA? I think he has a better chance in MMA than he does in professional boxing, if
Well,
we're
I
being
think he's
honest.
I think he's already learning terrible tendencies for an MMA fight, a pro MMA fight, because the way he was dropping his head in this fight, he's getting cleaned with a knee.
Ooh, yeah. A lot of things he'd have
But
to
the way
clean up.
and the way he I mean, and he doesn't do it a lot, but I see it a couple times. Like the way he slides his head to throw certain punches, he's getting knocked out with a head kick. So
Mhm.
I don't know. The movement that he's learning, it's not
He'll definitely
it's
have to
not
wrestle.
yeah, he would definitely have to use his striking just to take someone down and try and work the ground because
I would think if he
he's
starts getting into like wrestling training, that's what they'd be telling him. Like you like, all right, we gotta use your strikes to set up your wrestling so we can get you into ground and pound positions and stuff.
yeah, because yeah, I mean, I don't think to be honest with you, I can't see him going up against a pro MMA fighter and not getting fucked up. Like not even joking. Like especially in like clinch exchanges with elbows and everything. I don't know, man. I don't see I don't see him doing good against a pro MMA fighter. At least the way he's looking right now.
But I think it is the best move for him because when you beat Tommy, right, the only other option you have is KSI. That's it. If you go in there and try to box anybody else, it's just you're boxing down. And if you wanna keep going in boxing, you're gonna have to go up. And any higher competition than Tommy, Jake is gonna get fucked up. So I think the best option for him is to go take an MMA fight, man. Go. You don't have to try to be a world champion in MMA. Go take one or two MMA fights. It's something that no other YouTuber is doing. Taking a real pro in a prestigious league in the prestigious MMA league, the PFL. Go over there, fight, pick your opponent wisely, like you did in boxing. Pick your opponent wisely, study them, make sure it's someone with maybe a few losses, so you know what their weaknesses are, and learn some wrestling. Take them down, maybe get some ground and pound, and maybe get a TKO or something.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
he's definitely gonna. His first couple fights in MMA are definitely gonna be fighters that his camp at least knows he can win. They're gonna have
Mhm.
no ground game whatsoever, and they're gonna be strikers, but they're not gonna be like Muay Thai fighters. They're not gonna be no real like
No, no,
MMA crazy striking. It's gonna
no.
be mediocre striking with no ground game. That's probably
This
gonna be his first
Hmm.
4 to 5 fights.
this is the first time we've kind of ever seen, like, outside of the top dogs of the UFC, where they like Conor McGregor, stuff that the guys that have actual real leverage. This is the first time we've ever seen like an MMA fighter like completely in control of his career. Like he can handpick every single opponent.
Well, of course,
Hmm.
it's his name.
You know what I mean? So like he's gonna have like a smoother transition than anybody. Like how long do you think it's gonna like? How many fights before people are like, all right, dude, fight somebody that's actually good. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly. I mean, that's what he's
fight
gonna.
somebody that can actually kick your ass. You know what I mean?
Well, not that. It's probably just somebody that is not maybe a little bit better than him, but if he sticks with the game plan, he could win. Because there's no way I see him fighting just for example, um the dude, what's his name that the PFL got from the UFC with that crazy like delayed knockout. Damn, I forgot
Oh,
his name.
Shane
Oh,
Burgos.
Hooker?
Shane
No.
Burgos.
Oh,
Bro,
okay.
like let's just say that. I mean, and Shane Burgos is a legit striker. I don't see him ever being as good as him. I don't see him ever fighting a legit competitor in MMA. He'll probably just keep fighting these either nobodies or people with decent records that he knows if he uses the game plan right, he could win. But he won't fight like the Shane Burgos of the PFL and shit that he's not fighting them.
I guess at the end of the day, he really hasn't really put in like he is where he is because of the name, because of his name and who he is. But at the end of the day, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head. I guess he just hasn't put in the time and the years and doesn't have the experience to like be where he's trying to say he is in terms of like being a professional boxer, a professional MMA fighter. I mean, he just hasn't spent 15 years training. You know what I mean? So.
Mm-hmm. But if he wants to continue in the combat sports, I think that's the move, man. Because you're climbing too high up in the totem pole now in boxing. You're gonna get yourself hurt, especially. I mean, before he looked better before. So if he's able to, I just don't think he'll be able to, man. I think he just hasn't had long enough in the game, man. I think he's gonna get himself hurt. His team is gonna get him hurt. They're gonna push him. They're pushing him way too fast, and you saw it in this fight. Tommy just was just way too much for him, and Tommy still isn't even that good, and he was clearly too much for him. I think the move is go to MMA, go fight someone who is a pick me, who is an easy dub, someone you could probably wrestle. You could take them down. You don't gotta. They don't have very good stand up, and maybe you can ground and pound them or get like a basic submission that's easy to learn on them. And I think that's his best move, man. He's just not going to make as much money as he did boxing.
No, of course, but I mean, yeah, I think that's his route.
If he
I
wants
don't
to
see
continue
him.
fighting.
Well, you don't think
Yeah.
you think he's getting a piece of the pie though at PFL? Like you don't think they're like he's
Oh, he's going to get paid for sure. But he's not going to get paid what he's getting paid in boxing.
no.
Nah,
How much?
nah.
Do you know how much he got paid for this fight? Like how much are these guys still getting paid? Like how much do they
Um,
did they disclose that?
I think they can. I wonder if Tommy signed that contract. They did make a bet that whoever won, they're taking. All right, so Tommy bet that if Tommy won, then Jake Paul doubles his fight pay, and if Jake won, Jake gets Tommy's fight pay. But I don't think Tommy signed that little contract that they had. I'm trying to see if they say how much money they made. Nah, there's nothing that really discloses how much they've made. Especially if these guys are scrambling to fight Jake. I'm sure it's a good amount.
I'm shocked. Like I would think that PFL, like especially to get Jake Paul to like promote them the way he is, I would think they would like low key drop the bag on him, like 100 mil. Hey, come over here
Oh
real quick.
hell no.
No.
Hell no.
Heck no.
You don't
Hell
think
no.
so?
Kayla Harrison's pretty much the face of the PFL right now, and I believe she only makes like 750 to 800K a fight.
Oh, I know, but what I'm trying
So
to get
I
across
don't think
is
the
like,
PFL will throw that
No.
much
Maybe
money.
like half a mil. Or close
half
to a mil.
mil.
Maybe a million. Maybe.
I mean, it's probably around there, but it's gonna be per fight though. It's not gonna be like it's
So
probably like
you
around
don't
it's
think they
probably like
throw?
around a million.
Mm, so you don't think they just threw a bunch of money at him to cut? Like you think he went to them, like trying to prove a point to Dana, like I could do this shit better than you,
Well, I think he
or do you think they reached out to him? Like
no, well, I
I
think
don't
it's
know.
like I think it's both. I think it's he was talking about he wanted to do MMA, but he wasn't going to join the UFC. So the PFL could have reached out to him because again, he's a big name. He would probably like blow the PFL up, even though I mean the casuals don't really watch the PFL. They just watch the UFC.
I mean, it's
But
he kind of already blew it up a little bit. More people know what PFL is now than before.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I think it was probably a mixture of both. PFL probably went to him because he was saying that he wanted to go or fight in MMA, just didn't want to fight for the UFC. Um, but then again, I don't see them paying him like astronomical amount of money. I don't see that at all.
Mm-hmm. And that's even if he goes to the PFL. Who knows? After losing this fight, he might not even anymore. All right, so there was another fight this weekend. I don't know if you heard about it, but Floyd Mayweather had another one of his little exhibitions.
Yeah, I heard. I didn't watch it, but I heard about it. I heard that he put on a show.
Yeah, he
I
fought an MMA fighter, Aaron Chalmers. He's 5-2 MMA fighter. He's 2-2 in Bellator. And I don't know. Are you guys a fan of this thing? I mean, I understand why Floyd's doing it, but do
Well, I'm
you think
happy
it's
for
hurting the
that guy
sport?
because he just got a payday, boy.
Mm-hmm.
I think Floyd's just having fun now, man. Like he's like, dude, what? He's like, man, what else do I have to prove? I'm 50-0. I don't gotta fight no killers no more. Let me just go around, have fun, fight an MMA fighter here and there, make some money. I think he's just doing his thing. I don't
Yeah,
think he cares.
Antonio, I can talk from your experience, but for me too, like I haven't fought almost in November would be two years that I haven't fought, and
Damn, that was
like
quick. Time
I
flies.
know time flies, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been itching to fight again. Like I can't imagine, and I only have 3 fights under my belt. I can't imagine Floyd, who's done it his entire life, dedicated his whole life to this, and just stops out of nowhere and never fights again. I just think he's a fighter and he gets that itch. And when you get that itch, it's like nothing's stopping you from competing. So,
Yeah,
and maybe
man,
he
he's
just he
having
just
fun.
doesn't want to put up like he doesn't want to fight the killers anymore. He just wants to have fun and see the sport from a different eye view, you know what I mean? I think he's just trying to have fun and not really try and like kill himself to do it.
Yeah, he wants to keep boxing, but like you can't fight killers into your 50s, you know? Like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he's just having fun.
I mean, I think still now he looks good enough to compete with them. I don't know about win, but compete for sure. But then
Mm-hmm.
again, it's like with how old he is too. If he gets hit by someone with a lot of power, especially with someone that's good, I don't know, man. This is dangerous.
I don't
Yeah, I don't
I don't really like it, man. I don't like these whole exhibition things. I don't like it at all. I think yeah, it's good for the guys that he's fighting because
Yeah, of course,
they
it's
get a
payday, boy.
payday. But they're getting their ass whooped. They're not even winning a single round. They're going in there, getting their ass whooped.
It's like sparring him.
Yeah, and then Floyd just gets on the mic and just says the same script that he has, just saying, "Oh, he's a hell of a fighter. Oh, he's a good competitor. He's very competitive. Oh, you're a great fighter." He just goes on there, says the same script, and then he probably goes home and fucking laughs himself all the way to the bank because he's getting
That's
paid
exactly what he
millions
says.
Yeah, he's getting paid pretty much for an
for
easy
nothing.
job.
Yeah,
Yeah, for nothing. Like
for less than what he would get in a sparring session. That's
but
what he's getting
I
paid
don't
for.
like but the thing is though, Ricardo, I didn't even know about it until they announced that he won. So
Mhm.
like
No, no
it's
one
not like a
does.
lot of people it's not like a lot of people were watching it.
Oh
So
no, that
I
arena
don't
was
think
empty.
yeah, like I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think he's just trying to like keep the itch off of him. Like he wants to continue competing. He just doesn't want to fight the killers.
Yeah, and I could see it, man. They're at the end of the day, if they paid me $100 million to go fight some elementary school kid, I probably would take it too.
I would too.
But
I wouldn't.
I don't know, man. I just think that it makes the sport of boxing look bad, in my opinion. I just seeing a legend, right? You're not gonna see Muhammad Ali go out there and start beating up on guys that are lesser than him just because he wants some extra money. Like you're not gonna see Mike Tyson go out there and beat the shit out of some guys for some money because you know damn well he could. Mike Tyson even still could right now step in the ring with some lesser fighter like Floyd Mayweather's doing and knock them out cold if he wanted to, or fuck them up really badly for a
Yeah.
few $1 million. But it's just you just don't because like you're above them. Like the sport of boxing is supposed to be for competition. It's not supposed to be a show for you to beat someone up that they have zero chance of even touching you. I don't even think Floyd got hit in that fucking fight. That's what's ridiculous. I don't think that dude landed a strike. Nothing. So I don't know. I could see why he's doing it, but I just don't like it. I think it's making the sport look bad. But I don't think Floyd cares because he's retired. So why would he give a shit?
I kind of feel like all this stuff in a little bit of a way kind of makes the sport look bad, but I mean everybody's making money off of it, and if it makes money, it makes sense, I guess. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
just
mean, do I agree with it? No, but I mean, I don't know. I just, to be honest with you, I think the YouTuber shit makes the sport look way worse than what Floyd's doing, in my opinion.
yeah.
So I don't know. I can't talk no bad about him. He just wants to continue to compete. Granted, even though he's just having fun, he's really not getting. He's taking easy fights. Like he's not
Mhm.
fighting anybody that would even touch him. But
He's not. I know for a fact though, he's not gonna do it for very long because he literally beat the living shit out of that guy. That guy didn't even land a single punch. And Floyd after the fight was talking about he thinks he broke his hand, and he wasn't even trying to knock the dude out. So you could tell his age is catching up with him, man. His hands are getting more and more brittle. So I don't think we'll have many more of these Floyd Mayweather exhibitions, anyways.
I don't know why he'd go so fucking hard on the guy, to be honest.
Yeah, the
Like,
guy
you know,
literally, I don't think the guy landed a single punch.
probably didn't, to be honest
It was
with you.
so sad to watch, man. It was so sad.
you know what? You know what? He probably saw that clip of Logan Paul. Like, I almost knocked him out, man. When I hit him and he dropped, I felt it. I fucking felt it, and I almost died. He probably heard that and was like, you know what? I ain't going easy on nobody no more. Next time I get in there, I'm fucking that mother. He probably said, I ain't. That's fun. I bet that's why he did it.
All
He
right.
probably saw that video.
I literally just thought about
Devontae
it.
and Ryan getting finalized.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Devontae Garcia or Javante Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia did get finalized.
Oh,
It's set for April 22nd.
I thought it was April 15th.
No, it's for April 22nd.
I got Tank.
Yeah,
I'm
me
pretty
too.
sure everyone has Tank.
I got
Hmm.
Tank.
Yeah,
I'll
I
bet
don't.
my life savings on Tank. Not
It's
that I
hard
have
to bet
one,
on
but
Ryan, man. It's so hard to bet on Ryan, and then you just hope leading up to this fight that he doesn't catch another one of those pussy fits and he just takes some time off again, or whatever they're called, the fucking anxiety attacks, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Hopefully that doesn't happen to Ryan.
I mean, it probably will. Once he really like watches the tape on Tank and soaks up like how good he is, he's probably like, God damn, what am I doing?
I'm talking like so much shit, and Ryan's gonna go in there and fucking knock him out in like
Yeah, if
30.
he did, that'd be crazy. He just goes in there, fucking flatlines Tank. I'd be like, oh shit. People in
I
the
don't,
comments are gonna be
man.
ripping our ass.
Dude, we're gonna,
No
dude,
homo.
yeah, dude,
Pause.
he's gonna
And
pull
it's
off the
not like,
big
and it's
thing.
not like, to be honest with you, Brent, actually, nah. I was gonna say it's not like I don't want Ryan to win. I was gonna say I want him to win, but I really don't. Like I want to see Tank versus like Devin Haney and guys like that. And if he loses to Ryan, I don't see that happening.
Hmm.
It would be fucking sick, though. It would be
It
funny.
would
Yeah,
be crazy.
it'd
I
be
ain't gonna lie.
crazy.
We talking all this shit, and he goes in there and just starches him in like 2 rounds or something. They kick him in the overhand, just fucking drops. Or then he just drops unconscious. We're like, oh, that'd be. I want that to happen now. That would be awesome. That would be
That would be
awesome.
crazy. I'm not
That'd be
gonna lie.
sick.
That would be
Pretty
crazy.
sick.
Oh, so I wanted to ask you, Antonio. Are you gonna be who's next up to fight? Like, are you fighting next? Is Dom like
I
I'm not
don't
gonna
know.
lie. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't trained in a little bit. Like I was supposed to go
okay?
back this week, but then I got sick, and I'm still pretty sick. So I don't even know. I just don't want to get any of my teammates sick because I don't know. Like literally last week, two of my teammates fought, so I didn't want to get them sick.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't. I don't know if anybody else has fights lined up. So I don't know if I want to train next week either. But I'm looking at late late to early like summer. I'm thinking.
I've been training consistently for the past 2 months until last week. I did a jujitsu tournament and I twisted up my knee a little bit, and it's been hurting really bad. I had to buy a knee brace. I haven't been able to run. I ran every day for 2 months. I haven't been able to run in five. I haven't been able to run at all in 5 days now. And I
Mm.
went to I went to Garcia's Monday, and I went through all the freaking technique, but the rolling I couldn't do anything in rolling. So I don't know when I could get back to consistent training. I'm waiting for this freaking knee to heal up. It's so annoying, but as soon as it does, I'm gonna try to hop into a camp and fight. So I'm hoping maybe sometime. Let's see, we're at the end of February, right?
February,
February, March, April.
probably May, right?
Hopefully around May, June, I can get in there.
I'm
That's
looking
what I'm
at
hoping.
I'm looking at probably probably early to mid July. If there's a card, I mean, I don't even know what there's probably not there's probably cards June and probably none in July, so I don't know. I'll have to see. I mean,
If mine,
I'm
if
I'm
mine,
expecting something too, so I don't know when I'm really when I'm gonna.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of did want to actually talk about our experience in fighting because we did get a comment on one of our videos. I'm sorry if you see this video. I'm sorry if you see this, but we did get a comment of some guy bragging about like, "Oh, I've been doing this since middle school," and I'm just like, "You have no idea how experienced we are in combat sports, do you? Like,
Yeah.
you have no clue. Like, you've been doing it since middle school. We've been doing it since like just out
I
of
mean,
diapers,
I was
fresh out of diapers."
I was 2 or 3 years old. Literally, like I didn't even remember me being in the gym, and I was like, they have
Yeah.
recordings of me, and I don't even remember it. Like it's been that long.
we're definitely far past the decade mark in our experience.
Yeah.
I mean, and yeah, it's been off and on. Like, I mean, of course, we were in school, so we were doing other sports. We couldn't really train all year round, but you don't. We were bred in it. You know what I mean?
Hmm. So for anyone watching, I just wanted to clarify. We started out. I just wanted to go through our timeline. We started out in Taekwondo, right?
Yeah.
Taekwondo. We got our black belt. I'm not sure, Antonio. Do you know
Well,
how
I
long?
didn't.
Because you were, yeah, Dom didn't. Me and Antonio got our
I
black
didn't
belt in
like it.
Taekwondo. Antonio, do you know how long it took for us to get our black belt? I don't know how long or what age we made the transition because we transitioned from Taekwondo, got our black belt into kickboxing and jiu-jitsu, but I don't know what age I was when we made that transition.
Dude, that was so long ago, man. I can't remember exactly either. I don't even remember how old. I don't even remember how old we were when we started doing jujitsu. Like
Hmm.
Well,
I
are
could
we
kind
talking
of
about
remember.
Gracie or are we talking about
When we
Great
WCF
Gracie,
MS?
when we talking about Grace, when we
Gracie's
went to
when we
Gracie,
started.
because that was the first one.
Gracie's when
Yeah,
we started
I
learning
couldn't tell
jujitsu.
you either, bro.
That was such a long time ago. I
I was at
mean,
bro, I was at Gracie at like 4 years old, 5 years old, 4 or 5.
No, you
um,
were older at
you were a little bit
Gracie
older than
because
that.
we
You were
we
you were at you
yeah.
were at the Taekwondo at like 4 or 5.
Yeah, we were at the Taekwondo for a while because we went until we got our black belt.
Yeah, when we started doing jujitsu, you were a little bit older.
And then we went to a Gracie Baja gym, did
Gracie,
kickboxing and jiu-jitsu for a while. I'm still not sure. Even on that, I'm not sure how long we did it. We did that for a while too.
We did a lot of tournaments at that gym.
Yep, a lot of tournaments.
Won a
a lot of
lot.
jujitsu tournaments.
They were smaller tournaments though, weren't they?
No, yeah, it was literally like he
They
would bring a couple of gyms over.
hmm But yeah, still. So we kind of knew, by then, before we started actually like going to like a serious gym, which was the now the American Top Team. Before we started going there, we just knew the basics. Like we knew what like an armbar was. We understood positions like mount, guard, side control.
Yeah.
We knew the basics, but it wasn't until we got back in the gym. We did have a little gap where we weren't in the gym, but then when we got back, we did have a little bit of experience, but it wasn't until then that we started really getting it going and taking it seriously and really rolling and learning submissions and learning how to roll properly and even fight too.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I Bro, we were just talking about it like a few months ago. Me and Ralph. When I used to when we sparred. Like
Mhm.
I think we started there at World Class Martial Arts WCMA, which is now American Top Team Tampa. I was 11. The coach that coached us.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't even want to
yeah.
say his I don't want to say his name, but he literally I didn't even know this, but he told Ralph that I needed to either spar you, Ricardo, or spar against grown men because I was beating the shit out of all those kids.
Yeah, I do remember you were beating him up, and then they were like, I remember they were even threatening to like demote his belt
Yeah,
level because
he took his belt.
they were like, what the fuck? They're like, how are you that high of a belt level? And
I was teaching him how to fight while I was beating him up.
I remember, I swear to God, I still
Like, I
remember
felt so
freaking.
bad.
I remember I was in the most pain of my life because of freaking Antonio. I'll never forget
What
it.
is it?
You probably don't remember, but I will never fucking forget because you don't know how to really like take it easy when you're training.
Well,
And
I didn't. I do now, but I didn't
yeah,
before when I was
you didn't really
fucking
know how to take it
16.
easy. And we were doing, I think they were doing some type of, you might remember now, we were doing some type of like leg kick drill where we were kicking each other in the legs. I don't think we weren't supposed to be kicking each other hard. I think it was more so just for technique and learning to find the
Yeah,
spot. And Antonio was kicking the absolute shit out of my leg to the
dude, I don't remember doing it to you, but I know that I was a little shithead back then, and I would
Mhm.
do that to a lot of kids. I did that to a lot. I made a couple kids cry.
Yeah,
I
you
remember
were
that.
kicking the fuck out of my leg and I was getting so mad and I couldn't stand on it and you kept calling me a pussy and stuff telling me stop being a bitch. And when I switched stance and then you would kick the fuck out of my other leg and then next thing you know both of my legs are just gone. And I couldn't even stand. I was so jacked up and I was so mad cuz I was just trying to take it. But and then I could see everyone else is going really easy like tapping each other and you're not kicking me as hard as you can, of course, but you're landing pretty hard. And
And he's
yeah,
hitting you in
it's
the same spot.
yeah, in the same spot and on the same leg after a few times, your leg starts to go numb, man. And it was like the worst pain I've ever been in my life, man. Nothing hurts more than like leg kicks.
That's the most scary thing.
Unless you take a clean shot to the kidney or to like the
Liver.
sternum or something, like yeah, a liver shot or something like
Hmm.
that might be the only thing that's more painful than like taking repeated kicks to
Well,
the knee.
I don't think it's more painful. I think it's more like
Oh
it
man,
shuts your body down.
like
So
if you get
I
hit
don't
the
think
right
it's
way, it like sends a whole shock through your system.
but
Like you just
Yeah.
it's not but Antonio like I mean, I don't know, but to me like in my second fight when I got hit in the liver, it's not like it hurt, but it wasn't the pain. It just shut my body down. Like I couldn't it just shocked my body to where I couldn't breathe, I couldn't move, I couldn't really like so I don't know, man. I think leg kicks are the worst. I've never bro, I shit you not. One of my teammates, he was learning how to what's it called? Calf kick. And we sparred and he kicked me in the calf like really hard just once and I couldn't walk, bro. Like I literally I couldn't walk. Like that was the first time I ever felt a calf kick and he kicked me right under the meat where it gets from like your ankle to like the meat of your calf. He kicked me right in the middle, right there, and my leg just shut down. Like I couldn't walk. Like like so. I don't know, man. That's I feel like that's the worst.
Yep. And then also just for the viewers, we got into all of this stuff, combat sports and everything, because we were getting into fights a lot when we were younger. So, you learn to, your parents want you to learn how to defend yourself properly when you're fighting all the neighbors' kids and stuff like that, so you don't get beat up. And I
But it wasn't
remember,
like we were. It's not like, and it's not like we were choosing the fight. Those kids were like, we were the new kids on the block, and they were trying to bully us. So
yeah,
it's like,
yep, we were basically forced to fight, so then we learned how to train so that we could just defend ourselves. And I wanna just talk about one thing. We talked about it a few times. I want to talk about that fight Antonio had in the Boys and Girls Club.
no, I'm gonna be hated, bro.
It doesn't matter. It was a long time ago, man. We were little, pretty much. Kind of, sort of. Do you remember that, Antonio?
Uh, yeah, Dominic Hunting a kid. Yeah, I remember that.
What did he do exactly? I know you were playing basketball or something, and I remember the only thing I remember is like he like tapped you on the face or something for some reason, or he did something like
I
that.
I have no clue what happened.
I remember.
I
I remember.
remember.
The
All I
guy
remember.
who kicks the guy in the head. He remembers. So the thing that I remember is all I remember is that Antonio got a ball, like a basketball, because we were about to do a basketball tournament, like a 2v2 tournament, and I don't know if he picked up just a random ball that he's seen like on the side over there, or I think he did, and I guess it was like a kid. I mean, he was Antonio's age, but I'm just calling him a kid. But I guess he was like he wanted the ball or whatever, or it was his ball. He missed the shot and it went over there, and he stopped playing for a while, and he wanted it back or whatever. And Antonio he was gonna mind his own business, and the kid got in his face and smacked him like a little like play tap. And I thought they were cool. I thought they was like he like just play tapped him, and then this man Antonio freaking just started beating his ass. I was like,
hmm Yeah, I don't remember what happened leading up to it. I just remember the kid got in Antonio's face. He like tapped, not like a smack, but he like just tapped him on the face, and then instinctually you just dropped his ass, just punched him in the shit and dropped him, and then you got on
no,
top,
he
and
threw,
then
bro. He threw. So the first thing that I seen was Antonio threw a punch, threw a head kick, threw another punch, and then slammed him, and then just started ground and pounding him.
you come running over.
Yeah, bro, I literally put my hand up and everything like I was kicking the ball off in football.
You fucking
Yeah,
punted this dude in
Dominic.
the face.
Yeah, Dominic hit a field goal all over the side of his kids.
Antonio's literally on top of him, beating him up, and Dom runs over and kicks him in the face.
Yeah.
And I just remember I was just on the bench over to the side, and I was just laughing because I thought it was
Well, no,
hilarious.
no, because like I mean, that was the first time like I've actually like been around one of y'all fighting. So like I didn't care if you were getting beat up or you were beating someone up. I'm joining in. Like I mean, I was so young at that time that I didn't care. Like
hmm
if you fighting, I'm fighting. So he was beating him up and his head was on the ground and I punted him. That's all I could say.
You definitely did do that. That's a perfect way to put it.
We were
I mean,
little
it's
at
not
this
like it's not
age.
like I killed the guy, you know?
We were
I just
little, so yeah, you weren't gonna take his head off. We were little, and the dude was like what 4 or 5 years older than you, so it's not like you were a grown adult punting another adult in the face. You were 5 years younger, a little kid, probably either in elementary school or just in middle school, and then you kicked a dude 5 years older than you in the face.
I mean, I almost felt bad because like I was beating him up, and then Dominic just came and just like brutality, like just straight,
and
like you can just
and
hear
dude,
it, like
I was upset. I was upset because in my mind, I was just protecting my brother. Granted, he didn't need protection, but I was just protecting my brother. But when the teachers talked to mom, I got in trouble because the teachers were like, "Well, we could see if Antonio was getting beat up, but no. Antonio controlled the whole situation and was beating the kid up, and Dom came out of nowhere and punted him in the head." So I was upset because I got in trouble for defending my brother.
Yeah, you got in the most trouble.
that was wild. That was definitely one of the. I mean, I mean that was definitely one of the most. I'm there for my brothers no matter what moments. Yeah,
Yeah.
for
I
sure.
mean, granted, it
Family
was
physical.
unnecessary, but like Jorge Masvidal said, in my opinion, it was super necessary.
In my opinion, it was. I like that. I'd like to say if the roles were reversed and I was your age at the time and you were my age, I would have done the same thing for you.
Yeah,
I
but
would
I'm
have
just
punched
off to
the
the
moment
side
of the
because Tony was beating the kid up, so I just thought it was funny. I was
Bro,
just really so baffled that the kid would touch your face like that. I was like, why? Like, even if it was a playful thing, even if it was just a little tap, I was just like, you don't know us. Why the fuck would you do that? Like, why?
That's
bro,
exactly why, because he doesn't know us.
that
But
happened to
that's
me
more
in high
dangerous.
school, bro. That happened to me in high school. Like my friend literally like play tapped me in the face, and I got upset. Like, and I wanted to fight him. Good thing like all our friends were there because they held me back. But like I don't understand what go through people's heads. Like hitting someone in the face, no matter what it is, it's not like it's nothing to play with.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that whole necking shit. Like people slapping each other in the neck and stuff. I wasn't a fan of all
Yeah.
that, man. I was like, yeah, touch my neck. I don't care how good of
I don't
friends we
know,
are.
man.
You ain't touching my neck like that.
I don't know, man. Y'all, one of y'all slapped me in the neck a couple times, hard as fuck. I can't remember. I can't
That's
remember which one of
different
y'all
though.
that was.
That's different because if you beat us up, we fight all the time. We're brothers. We fight all the time, anyways. That's different. It's different than if some fucking kid that's supposed to be my friend comes up and just slaps the shit out of my neck, or he's like, "Ooh, I like your cut, G," and slaps you in the back of the head. Like, who the fuck
There
do
was
you
shit
think you
like there
are?
was that shit got rampant. Remember in football, like when you like I wasn't playing football anymore, but when you guys were playing football, and that shit was running rampant, and like coach had to stop practice and have a whole damn speech about if he sees anybody necking each other anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I was telling people if they did that, I was fighting.
Yeah. No.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why
No.
I didn't. That's why I didn't get necked a lot
Yeah. No. The way we were
because I don't.
raised,
I
you
don't
do
like that
that
shit.
shit to us. It don't matter how long we've been friends. Nothing. It like you don't do that shit. You don't play like that. You saw the dude just immediately comment that he had to do a double take. He thought you were Anthony Pettis.
yeah, I get that. All right, I gotta go. The baby's coming in for bedtime.
All right.
All
All right.
right, good one, guys. I'll see you next time.
All right. I'll see you.
All right. Good night, bro.
Yeah, bro.